Caught my girlfriend cheating by her step counter. My name is Alex, and I never imagined that a fitness tracker could completely take over my life. It all started on a quiet evening when I casually glanced at Lora's step counter. I froze. 20,000 steps. I blinked, convinced it was a glitch. She was asleep, or at least, that's what she said, curled up on the couch with her phone, finishing her series, sipping tea. 20,000 steps while sleeping. At first, I laughed. Maybe it was a new feature, some ultra-sensitive sensor, registering every twitch, every roll of her legs. But night after night, it repeated. 20,000, 21,000, 22 steps. I began obsessively tracking her routine. Breakfast at exactly 8. Scrolling her phone, watching shows, turning off the lights at 11. Everything seemed normal, everything except the tracker, which told a story I couldn't ignore. I set up a small camera in the hallway, hidden behind a potted plant. That night, pretending to sleep, I watched. Midnight arrived. I woke to a faint noise. On the camera screen, Lora appeared, clad in dark workout clothes, headphones on, moving silently through the apartment, jumping, squatting, swinging her legs, each motion precise, deliberate, completely silent. It looked like a secret Olympic training session. I rubbed my eyes, blinked. The footage didn't lie. How could she move like this without waking me? Was this even humanly possible? I tried to rationalize it. Extreme sleep fitness. Maybe, but as I observed more nights, the truth became unavoidable. The step counts mirrored someone else's tracker I had seen on a friend's app. Lora wasn't sleepwalking. She was meeting another guy. I couldn't believe it. It was absurd, almost cartoonish, and yet undeniably true. I became a silent witness to their secret, absurd nocturnal routine. The nights blurred together, each one more absurd than the last. I became obsessed. I started mapping the routes they took. Streets, sidewalks, parks, lampposts, benches, even the small curbs and bushes they used as obstacles. I tracked every step, every sprint, every jump. It was like observing a live-action video game. Only the players were my girlfriend and her partner. One night, I followed them from a safe distance. Lora moved with eerie precision, leaping over trash cans, vaulting benches, sprinting in impossible zigzags, flipping over small walls. Her partner mirrored her movements, sometimes stumbling, but quickly recovering. They moved like a synchronized circus act, completely oblivious to the world around them. I hid in shadows, heart pounding, struggling to suppress laughter and fury at the same time. Each night, new absurd elements appeared. One evening, they started using the environment creatively, twisting around lampposts, hopping across flower beds, even vaulting short fences. Their steps were meticulous, almost choreographed, yet entirely ridiculous. I imagined how this looked from a passerby's perspective, to ghostly figures performing a secret nighttime ballet in an empty neighborhood. I kept a detailed journal, step counts, GPS coordinates, distances, timings, and the strange choreography of their movements. Every note read like a mix of detective report and comedy script. I would sometimes mutter to myself, if there were an Olympic sport for absurdity, they'd win gold without question. Yet, underneath the humor, the sting of betrayal remained. I noticed patterns too. Some nights they would zigzag in complex loops, as if testing each other, competing in this ridiculous, secret marathon. Other nights, they sped through straight stretches like sprinters, only to suddenly veer off into alleys or climb over fences. The absurdity grew, and my obsession followed. I felt like a character trapped in a surreal, never-ending show. The nights passed, and my obsession grew. I couldn't stop thinking about them. Lora and her partner performing these absurd nighttime acrobatics, vaulting trash cans, leaping over benches, sprinting in loops, flipping over curbs, all in perfect but ridiculous synchronization. My mind was consumed with every detail, the sound of their footsteps, the rhythm of their movements, even the faint jingles of her headphones as they twisted past streetlights. I started preparing for what I called the final observation. I planned it like a secret mission. Camera set up, GPS tracker ready, my own phone recording every movement. I even mapped out my hiding spots, shadows behind bushes, corners of empty buildings, alleys where I could observe without being seen. My heart raced with anticipation, a mix of fear, excitement, and rage. Each night before the grand finale, I watched them repeatedly. Some nights they introduced new tricks, spinning around lamp posts, jumping across multiple benches in a row, flipping over small fences in perfect coordination. I began taking mental notes at every move, imagining the training required to perform such acrobatics silently and flawlessly. It was absurd, but the betrayal stung. I couldn't help but imagine the neighborhood's perspective. Had anyone been awake to witness it? To shadowy figures running through empty streets, leaping, flipping, zigzagging under the moonlight. It must have looked like a surreal performance art piece. I laughed nervously at the thought. And then the night arrived. The air was cool, the streets deserted. I took my position, heart pounding, phone in hand, camera ready. Midnight struck. Lora emerged from the shadows, athletic and precise, her partner close behind. Immediately, the spectacle began. They vaulted trash cans, leapt over benches, zigzagged through alleys, spun around trees, performed flips over small fences. Every movement was absurdly perfect. The step counter climbed at an impossible pace, 25,000 steps in just 1 hour. The absurdity had reached its peak. I stayed hidden for a moment, watching, mesmerized. Then, almost instinctively, I stepped out. They froze mid-movement. Lora's eyes widened. The guy stumbled over a curb. I raised my phone, displaying the tracker and GPS data. Proof. Undeniable. No words were necessary. After the final night, I returned home, my heart still racing. I sat on the couch, replaying the videos over and over. Lora and her partner moving through the streets, vaulting trash cans, leaping over benches, spinning and flipping with absurd precision. It was almost hypnotic. I felt a mix of anger, disbelief, and uncontrollable laughter. How could something so ridiculous also hurt so deeply? I started documenting everything. Every step, every flip, every bizarre zigzag. My notes had become part detective report, part absurd comedy script, part surreal diary. I noticed patterns in their routines. Certain nights they were faster, more daring. Other nights they repeated loops in perfect synchronization. Every variation felt like a performance, a challenge, a secret game I wasn't meant to see. Sometimes, I imagined how it all looked from the outside. Neighbors awake in the middle of the night might have thought the streets were haunted or that a surreal circus had taken over the block. To shadowy figures performing impossible feats in complete silence, while one oblivious observer recorded every absurd movement. The mental image made me laugh despite the sting of betrayal. I reflected on the tracker itself. Once, it was just a small gadget on her wrist. Now, it had become a silent witness to the most absurd affair imaginable. Without it, I might never have known. Without it, I would have remained blissfully ignorant, never understanding the sheer scope of their nightly antics. Days passed, but the memory lingered. I still watched the videos, still documented minor details, the exact number of steps, the distance of each jump, the speed of each sprint. Each replay was like reliving a live-action cartoon of betrayal, absurdity, and surrealism. And then I realized something. Life doesn't always follow reason or logic. Sometimes it's 25,000 steps, absurd night marathons, secret acrobatics, and impossible betrayals. Sometimes the truth is so ridiculous, so absurd, that all you can do is observe, count the steps, and find a strange humor amidst the anger. Even now, months later, I imagine their moonlit routines, vaulting over bushes, spinning in loops, flipping over curbs and benches, performing perfect choreography in the shadows. And I can't help but laugh. Life, it seems, isn't just about reason. Sometimes it's about absurdity, observation, and learning to find humor in the strangest betrayals. The nights continued, each one more absurd than the last. I became a silent witness to a surreal marathon. Lora and her partner introduced new obstacles every evening. Fire hydrants to leap over, low fences to vault, small alley walls to spin off. Some nights, they zigzagged through the streets like shadowy dancers in a choreographed nightmare, flipping in ways that defied reason. I documented everything. Step counts, GPS routes, every jump, every sprint, every impossible movement. Sometimes I imagined their perspective, a secret competition, a test of skill, or ridiculous ritual they performed for no one but themselves. And yet, I was there, a shadowy observer, caught between disbelief, rage, and morbid amusement. Every night I hid in the shadows, counting steps, noting movements, feeling my own pulse rise with theirs. Then, the night of the final marathon arrived. The air was crisp, the streets empty, the moonlight casting long shadows. I took my position, camera ready, phone in hand, heart pounding. Midnight struck. Lora stepped out, her partner close behind. Immediately, the spectacle began. Vaulting trash cans, spinning around lampposts, leaping over benches, zigzagging, looping, flipping. Each movement was absurdly perfect. Their step counts soared, climbing beyond 25,000 in a single hour. But this night was different. Something shifted. They moved faster, with more daring and precision than ever before. Every jump, every flip, every sprint was amplified, as if the streets themselves had become a stage for their grand finale. I watched, breathless, my emotions a chaotic mix of anger, disbelief, awe, and reluctant admiration. And then I stepped out of the shadows. They froze mid-action. Lora's eyes widened in shock. The guy stumbled over a curb. I raised my phone, displaying the step counts, GPS routes, the undeniable proof, the absurdity, the comedy, the betrayal. It all culminated in that single moment. The secret was out. Returning home, I sat on the couch, replaying the footage over and over. The absurdity of their synchronized chaos, the surreal spectacle of it all, was breathtaking. I laughed, I shook my head. I felt the sting of betrayal and the thrill of revelation all at once. My fitness tracker, once a simple device, had become a witness to the most bizarre and epic affair imaginable. In the following days, I reflected on the events. Life had shown me that sometimes the truth is so absurd, so ridiculous, that the only thing you can do is observe, document, and find humor amidst the chaos. I still imagine their moonlit acrobatics, vaulting over bushes, spinning in loops, flipping over curbs, racing through streets with impossible precision. And each time, I laugh. This is the lesson my tracker taught me. Life doesn't always follow reason or logic. Sometimes it's 25,000 steps, secret nighttime rituals, absurdity, and betrayal, all rolled into one epic, surreal performance. And sometimes the best thing you can do is step back, watch, count the steps, and marvel at the spectacle, knowing that even in betrayal, life can be utterly, ridiculously unforgettable.